accounting principles. These accounting principles are given to us on the basis of which we do accounting. The first accounting principle, which is a very important principle, is accounting entity or business entity principle. Accounting entity and business entity principle says that business and the owner are two separate entities. दोनों अलग अलग हैं. This is a very important concept. This is a very important concept. For example, a businessman has a main business, and side by side he is earning money from other sources also. For example, let us consider a businessman. उसका एक मेन बिजनेस है शूज का, उसके अलावा उसने एक प्रॉपर्टी रेंट पे दी हुई है और वो शेयर्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट करता है. ठीक है. अब जो उसके शूज बिजनेस है उससे उसको इनकम आ रही है, जो प्रॉपर्टी उसने रेंट पे दी हुई है उसे वहां से भी इनकम आ रही है, और जो शेयर्स उसने खरीदे हुए हैं उन शेयर्स से उसको डिविडेंड आ रहा है. ठीक है. Now if he does not separate all these things, if he does not separate the business accounts, then what will happen when he will be making the profit and loss account? He will be including that rental income also, he will be including the income from the investment also. ठीक है. उसकी इनकम बहुत ज्यादा शो करेगी, उसे एक्चुअली में ये नहीं पता चल पाएगा कि उसका बिजनेस कितनी अर्निंग्स कर रहा है. राइट. And for example, if the business is earning losses, he will not be able to know this, and he will not be in a position to take the wise decision whether to keep on continuing the business or to shut down the business. That is why in accountancy what we do is we separate business from the owner. We make two accounts. One account is of the business and the one account is of the owner. That is why the capital invested by the owner in the business is considered as the liability of the business. जो भी अकाउंट्स हम बनाते हैं वो अकाउंट्स हम बिजनेस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बना रहे हैं, एंड वी कंसिडर दैट ओनर इज अ सेपरेट पर्सन and he has invested that money into the business. This principle has been derived from a lot of observation and experiments. There is a very famous example of Solomon and Solomon Company case. The students who want to get some extra knowledge, they can learn about this case from the internet as well. But it is not as such a part of the course, but I am explaining you because I feel like explaining to my students about this knowledge. Solomon and Solomon Company case, in that there was one person, Aaron Solomon, and that person invested money into the company. In his company, he made a company, Solomon and Solomon Company. So what happens is that he is the director of the company, and he himself purchases the shares of the company, and some shares he sells to his family members, gives to his family members. So debentures he has purchased of his company, and debenture is a big term for you right now, I know, but debentures are secured debentures, and the person who has given loan to the company, they are unsecured. So when the company went into liquidation means the company is closing. So when the company is closing, at that time, whatever the money was there in the company, that was given to Solomon, because Solomon was the secured creditor of the company. Because company and Solomon are two different persons. Company is an artificial person created by law, and Solomon is the person, he has invested money into the company. So the court verdict, the decision of the court that came was in favor of Solomon, and court said that payment will be made to Solomon, because Solomon and Solomon Company are two different entities. So when we are doing accounts, we need to keep it in our mind that business and owner are two separate entities. They are considered separate, right? Now coming to the second principle, that is movement. You want to ask something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, beta. Yes, please ask.
Ma'am, sometimes there is a case in which a person founds the company,
Hmm. He is the
and
founder
after
of the
some
company.
time,
Okay.
or few years, that only person is expelled out from that company. How is it possible? Because he is the founder. Like, I have made a app and I am the founder of the app. After
Uh,
some time, the other few members only expelled me. So
hmm.
ऐसा क्यों होता है मतलब?
What's your name? You're Harsh Gulati, I suppose.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you are doing all these innovative things all the time. So there is an app. You are talking about an app in which you joined as the founder of that app. But listen, formation of a company has many stages that we will be studying in business studies in the second chapter. And there is a difference between private company and public company as well. And regarding company, what is there are many legal formalities to be done, and company and the persons who are working in the company, they are separate entities, and company will go on forever. There is one sentence, one very famous sentence regarding companies: members may come, members may go, but the company goes on forever. So it depends on what was the agreement between you people, what was the contra, what the terms and conditions of the company. Depending on that, it is the case. But you are saying that the founder of the company cannot be expelled or expelled. It can be done, and human beings are definitely the founder will one day he will be dying, or he can leave the company, or due to some other reasons he can leave the company, but company remains unaffected by all these things, unaffected by all these things, because company is an artificial person created by law, and it never dies unless and until it is closed by law only. जो कंपनी है वो सिर्फ लॉ ही क्रिएट कर रहा है कंपनी को, और लॉ ही कंपनी को फिनिश कर सकता है, एंड कर सकता है, लिक्विडेट कर सकता है। पर उसमें मेंबर्स आ रहे हैं या जा रहे हैं, दैट इज इजीली पॉसिबल. देयर इज नो restriction on the entry or exit of the members. But I don't know what happened in your case.
Okay, ma'am.
That is totally case sensitive, and that in your particular case we need to understand the entire, listen to the entire case, that what happened, that how you created the app and all that. It is interesting to listen. I listen to you, but right now, because many students are here and I'm going on with the class, later on you tell me what happened. Okay, Harsh?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I have a lot to learn from you. It is my strategy
No
in
problem.
the teaching learning process, that whatever knowledge I have, I share with the students. That knowledge I have gained through the books and through my teachers. But all this new knowledge which the youngsters have, that knowledge is somehow I don't know about it, and I keep learning from my students about these new things. And it is interesting. But let me go on with the principle, the next principle, that is money measurement principle. Money measurement principle, again, it we have already studied it somehow in the previous chapter, that in business only the transactions which can be recorded in terms of money, they are recorded in the books of accounts, right? The transactions and events which cannot be measured in terms of money, they will not be recorded in the books of accounts. For example, death of a manager, manager becoming ill, manager going outside for treatment, or for example, there are very good working conditions in the company. Because of that, workers are very happy, and workers are working with dedication and loyalty, and that is increasing productivity. But a good working environment, I cannot measure it in terms of money, and I cannot record it in the books of accounts. So money measurement principle says that only the transactions and events which can be measured in terms of money, they will be recorded in the books of accounts. Then there is accounting period principle. Accounting period principle is a very important principle. According to this principle, we divide the life of a business into intervals of 1 year. Like the accounting period can be the calendar year or it can be a financial year. We can take from 1st January to 31st December, or we can take it from 1st April to 31st March. This is important because I told you in the going concern concept that we are assuming that the business, that the life or that the business is going to run for a longer period of time. So I cannot do that कि business चल रहा है बहुत लंबे time तक 25 years 60 years and after that I am calculating the profit and loss. That will not be of any use to me. Frequently, like after a period, every time I want to know what are my profits in this year, what are my losses in this year, what are the expenses in this year, and government is asking me for taxes every year. So I need to calculate my profit and loss and other data I need to analyze in period of time. Okay, so that time period we have kept 1 year. Accountants can opt for calendar year from 1st January to 31st December, or they can choose from 1st April to 31st March, right? So accounting period principle says that as per going concern principle, life of the business is fairly long, but the users of financial accounting cannot wait for financial statements till the liquidation of the business. That the business will shut down, then we will calculate. This we cannot do. This is not wise enough. Moreover, this is not a feasible proposition as many users like management, bankers, financial institutions, and creditors require accounting information at a regular interval so that they may take appropriate decisions on timely basis, right? I think understood. Now coming to full disclosure principle. Full disclosure principles requires that financial statements make complete, adequate and full disclosure of all information which is relevant and significant to the users. It simply means this principle that I cannot hide information, that whenever I'm making the accounts, I cannot withhold any information, I cannot hide any information. I need to clearly state the position of my business, right? So all the material facts which are taking place in my business, I need to enter those facts. ऐसा नहीं है मैं कोई information hide कर लूंगी कि मैंने sales मैंने करी 1 लाख रुपीस की और मैंने उसको accounts में record ही नहीं करा ताकि मुझे tax pay ना करना पड़े, and I'll say to the government कि मेरे पास sales हुई नहीं है तो मैं tax क्यों pay करूं. This I cannot do. Accounting says that this principle says that full disclosure principle, that I need to disclose all the material facts in my business. जो भी मेरे business में हो रहा है मुझे सब का सब accounts में mention करना पड़ेगा, accounts में show करना पड़ेगा. Again, coming here, the principle of full disclosure requires that all the material facts which help in the appraisal of operating and financial performance of an organization must be disclosed in the financial statements. I cannot hide any information from the users of accounting information. And now coming to materiality principle. The principle of materiality requires that accounting of material facts in the books of accounts, and accountants need not present facts which are immaterial while determining the income of the enterprise. Materiality principle says that the information which is important to the business, which is significant, which is the type of information which must be entered in the books of account, that information must be entered in the books of account. For example, it's a big company. For example, let us take Tata or Reliance. For Tata and Reliance, a repair of 1000 rupees is a very small amount because they have their sales turnover in crores of rupees. So 1000 repair, if I am recording in the profit and loss account, two repairs account 1000, it will be immaterial for that organization, and it will unnecessarily increase the number of transactions in the accounts, and in that way accounts won't be that much useful for us to read. So materiality principle, but the same information may be very significant from the point of view of a small enterprise. For example, कोई एक बहुत छोटी सी शॉप है और उस शॉप के लिए 1000 रिपेयर भी एक बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट है, उसका सेल्स ही पूरे मंथ का 50,000 है या 1 लाख है. फॉर that shop 1000 repair is a material information. So depending on the type of the organization, the accountant will make a wise decision whether this information is material for our business or immaterial for our business. So depending on that, materiality principle says that only material facts should be recorded in the books of accounts. Materiality principle. The principle of materiality requires the accounting of material facts in the books of accounts, and accountants need not present facts which are immaterial while determining the income of an enterprise. An item should be regarded as material if there is reason to believe that knowledge of it would influence the decision of an informed investor. An item is material to one, may not be material to another. जो हमें लगता है हमारे बिजनेस में रिकॉर्ड करना ज़रूरी है, वो हो सकता है दूसरे बिजनेस में रिकॉर्ड करना ज़रूरी नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, किसी के बिजनेस में 2000 का रिपेयर या 5000 का कोई अमाउंट रिकॉर्ड करना ज़रूरी है, पर कोई बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है उसको लगता है कि ये रिकॉर्ड करना ज़रूरी नहीं है, ये बिल्कुल पेटी एक्सपेंस है, या हम इसको पेटी कैश बुक में डाल देंगे, या इसको रिकॉर्ड मत करो, ये काम हो जाएगा. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन the organization to organization. Examples are given. Money spent on the extension of size of shop is material fact as it will increase the future earning capacity of the business. A variation in the closing stock by 200 is not significant. हमारा जो closing stock है, जो stock रखा हुआ है हमारे पास, उसके अंदर 200 का difference आ रहा है. तो but a variation in the cash balance of the same amount is a significant and material fact. So depending on that, similarly, stock of pencils, erasers, ink spots are not shown as an asset. Rather, they are shown as revenue expenditure under the head stationery, as the amount is not significant and hence not material. हम अपने बिजनेस में कि हमारे पास कितना पेंसिल है, कितना इरेजर है, कितना इंक है, कितना रिफिल्स हैं, these things are not very much material to us, so we don't consider them as an asset. We consider them as revenue expenditure, और उसका हम एक टोटल में एक हेड बना देते हैं स्टेशनरी, और उसमें हम उसको रिकॉर्ड कर लेते हैं. Now coming to the second principle, a very important principle, principle of conservatism or prudence. Conservatism or prudence principle says that anticipate all losses and expenses but do not anticipate any profit or gain. हमारे बिजनेस में हम फ्यूचर में देख रहे हैं, फ्यूचर को एंटिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, और फ्यूचर में देखते हुए हमें जितने लॉसेस पहले से हम सोच सकते हैं, एंटिसिपेट कर सकते हैं कि हो सकता है कोई डेटर बैड हो जाए, and that debtor is not giving my money, bad debts. So I am already recording it to provision for doubtful debts. I have a doubt that this debtor will turn bad. Then depreciation. I am already predicting that in the future what will happen is ये मशीनरी डिप्रिसिएट होगी, मशीनरी की वैल्यू इतना से कम हो जाएगी. So what I am doing is to depreciation on machinery. So what I am doing is I am anticipating all the losses in the future and I am writing them in the books of accounts so that मुझे एकदम से शॉक नहीं लगे कि मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था कि वो डाउटफुल वो डेटर बैड हो जाएगा. So principle of conservative says that if the management anticipate loss, anticipate कर लिया हमने पहले से ही, उसको आइडिया लगा लिया उसका. Anticipate loss, provision should be made for loss, but if it anticipates profit, it should not be recorded in the books of accounts unless and until it is realized. जब हम किसी प्रॉफिट को अगर एंटिसिपेट भी कर रहे हैं, जब तक पूरा प्रॉफिट नहीं हो जाएगा, we won't be recording it in the books of accounts. The principle states that management should be conscious while ascertaining income, failing which profit will be overstated and it will mean declaration of dividend out of capital. It will amount to reduction of share capital, which is against the provisions of law. Here what the author wants to say is, अगर हम पहले से ही प्रॉफिट को एंटिसिपेट कर लें और लॉसेस को एंटिसिपेट नहीं करें, तो उससे हमारा प्रॉफिट जो है वो इन्फ्लेटेड आ जाएगा, प्रॉफिट ज़्यादा आ जाएगा. प्रॉफिट ज़्यादा आ जाएगा तो हमें शेयर होल्डर्स को ज़्यादा डिविडेंड देना पड़ेगा, और अगर उसका केस दूसरा हो जाए, इन दैट केस हमें प्रॉफिट कैपिटल से देना पड़ेगा, विच इज़ नॉट अलाउड. तो हम पहले से ही कोई प्रॉफिट एंटिसिपेट नहीं करेंगे unless and until it is actually earned, but we will anticipate all the losses even before that. Due to this only, whenever we calculate this closing stock, we just calculate valuation of closing stock at cost or market price, whichever is less. हमारे पास जो स्टॉक पहले से ही रखा है उसकी कॉस्टिंग क्या है और उसका इस टाइम मार्केट में क्या प्राइस है, दोनों में से जो लेस होता है हम उसको रिकॉर्ड करते हैं, बिकॉज ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट में हम क्लोजिंग स्टॉक को क्रेडिट साइड में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं बाय क्लोजिंग स्टॉक. अगर हम उसकी वैल्यू जितना है एक्चुअली में उससे ज़्यादा रिकॉर्ड कर देंगे तो इट विल इंक्रीज आवर प्रॉफिट, विच इज़ नॉट राइट. And of course we want to pay less taxes, so we always try that we are showing less profit by making use of provisions. This is in practical life, by making use of provisions. Provision for doubtful debt show कर रहे हैं, provision for depreciation show कर रहे हैं, and all other things we are doing so that our profit is less and we need to pay less taxes. Now coming to cost concept or historical cost concept. According to cost concepts, assets are recorded in the books of accounts at their purchase price, which includes cost of purchase, transportation, installation, and for making the asset ready to use. For example, a machinery is purchased at a cost of 40 lakh. 40 lakh तो मशीनरी की कॉस्टिंग है, प्लस 20,000 ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, प्लस 10,000 इंस्टॉलेशन. वो मशीन को फैक्ट्री में इंस्टॉल कराने के लिए, उसको ग्राउंड पर लगाने के लिए हमने 10,000 रुपीज और दिए. सो the cost of the value of the machinery now will be the amount of machinery which will be recorded in the books of accounts will be 40 lakh plus 20,000 plus 10,000, that means 40 lakh 30,000. Thus, the purchase price of the asset actually paid forms the basis for accounting for that asset. हम हमेशा historical cost concept के according जो मशीन जो assets हैं उन्हें उनके purchase price पर record कर लेते हैं. It is also called as historical cost concept. Now coming to matching concept or matching principle. Matching, we already understand the meaning of matching. Matching is किसी चीज को match करके देखना. For example, matching concept or matching principle मैचिंग वी ऑलरेडी आई नो व्हाट इज मैचिंग. आप लोग टेस्ट देते हैं तो आपके जो रिजल्ट जो आंसर्स हैं उनको हम एक्चुअल आंसर्स के साथ अपने मार्किंग स्कीम के साथ मैच करते हैं और फिर देखते हैं कि आपका क्या रिजल्ट आया. तो हमारे अकाउंटिंग प्रिंसिपल्स में मैचिंग कॉन्सेप्ट और मैचिंग प्रिंसिपल क्या है. वी हैव अ प्रिंसिपल कि अगर कोई रेवेन्यू जनरेट हुआ है, अगर कोई इनकम हुई है हमें, तो उसके मैचिंग में कोई एक्सपेंस हुआ होगा जरूर. हमने कोई प्रोडक्शन पर किसी चीज पे एक्सपेंस करा होगा, तभी हमने वो चीज सेल करी है. अगर मैंने कोई गुड्स सेल करे हैं तो वो गुड्स मैंने प्रोडक्शन करी होगी या मैंने उसको कहीं से प्रोक्योर करा होगा तभी मैं उसको सेल कर रही हूँ. तो मैचिंग कॉन्सेप्ट सेज दैट व्हेनेवर वी आर अर्निंग एनी रेवेन्यू, देयर should be a matching expense related to that. Matching concept: expenses incurred in an accounting period should be matched with revenues earned during that period. Thus, the expenses and revenues must belong to the same accounting period to determine the correct profit of the accounting period. जहां पर मैंने इनकम रिकॉर्ड करी है जिस ईयर में, उसी ईयर में उसका कोई मैचिंग एक्सपेंस आएगा ताकि मेरे पास जो प्रॉफिट है वो एक करेक्ट प्रॉफिट आ पाए. Since the accounts are prepared on accrual basis, so expenses incurred in an accounting period are matched with the revenues recognized in that period, because we are working on accrual basis. So whether the expenses are actually paid in cash or not, or whether the income has actually been received in cash or not, I will be recording it in the year at the time when it has become due. So matching concept says that I need to match revenues with the expenses.